It's not uncommon in my experience for a lot of creators to try to grow on YouTube, to have this big goal, this big vision, this big business, this big channel, all these views, all this money, everything that they're going for, and to get there to some level of success and find out it's not really what they thought it was going to be. And it's actually a really big letdown.
Yeah.
And I don't want you guys to experience that. Today, I'm talking with Roberto Blake. We've known each other for a long time. And together, I want to talk with you, Roberto Bello, about your experience with that. I have my own experiences with that as well, both with clients as well as my own personal life. And talk about like what happens if you actually get what you thought you wanted on YouTube. I think there's risks involved with it. There's dangers involved in that. And I want to talk to them with you here today.
Let's do it.
Hey, welcome to the Video Creators Podcast. You know how you put a lot of time and energy into your YouTube channel for not nearly enough growth? Yeah, we get it. We're here today to help you change that. If you're trying to accelerate your channel's momentum, become more profitable, and change the lives of more people than ever before, today's episode will help you move forward with confidence. So far, our team is responsible for helping clients generate over 20 billion views on YouTube. And now to help you, here's the Video Creators team.
Hello, creators. Welcome to another Video Creators podcast episode. My name is Tim Schmoyer, and here at Video Creators, we are all about helping you grow on YouTube, spread that message that reaches more people and changes their lives. And right now, our goal, Roberto Blake and I, is to change your own life by making sure that when the thing that you think is going to change your life, when you get it and it doesn't, we don't want you to be too disappointed and maybe set you up to be more likely to be successful with those endeavors in the future. But before we dive into all that, Roberto, how did you get started on YouTube? Tell us your story.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm Roberto Blake, and I call myself a creative entrepreneur. And what that means is I make money through my creative endeavors. I've learned to monetize them and not be a starving artist. So, Tim, my background comes from the traditional world of marketing, advertising, graphic design, working at companies. I even worked at an ad agency in New York for a bit. And one of the things that was really important to me was to have more time, more freedom, more control. I didn't have, as an employee, healthy boundaries, because sometimes your bosses, your coworkers, they don't always give you the respect that you deserve, the recognition for your work that you deserve. And a lot of times there's not enough financial rewards to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I decided to, as they say, go my own way. And as I decided to go my own way, I realized that, if I'm like servicing 40, 50 clients a month for this employer and making this paycheck, well, one, these are all online business owners in the case of the company I was working for. So wait a minute, if they're online business owners and they're not necessarily that much smarter than me, especially since I'm fixing their problems so often, why am I not just running their online business myself? Why am I not an entrepreneur doing that? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, wait a minute, I'm servicing 40, 50 customers a month and they're very happy. How much are they paying us for that? Oh, wait, I know, because I'm like a manager in the company. Oh, so that's what that's worth.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What if I only had 4 clients for myself? And again, I didn't poach them from the company or anything, but it's like, what if I had my own clients? What if I had 4 or 5 clients? I could work less hours, make them just as happy, and make more money. So I became a full-time independent freelancer.
And what year is this we're talking?
We're talking, God, like more than 10 years ago or something like that. And so so a while. And what happened was I was freelancing. And then I also casually was doing YouTube content creation. I was early to all social media platforms. I actually was earlier to YouTube than that with my friends. But when you start channels with your friends, they don't usually end well. So that's how that is. So those 2005, 2006 channels don't exist anymore. Don't have access to them. And it's all of us trying to be independent filmmakers and not doing such a great job of it. It's it's fine. But my point is, I've been on YouTube forever. So in 2013, I actually decided to try to take YouTube somewhat seriously. And by that, I was doing tutorial content. I was like, hey, what if I taught people the stuff that my professors in college didn't teach me? Because my professors did everything by hand. They didn't really know the software. They gave us a book, a CD, and said, learn the software, have fun. And I did. And I got better at it than most of my classmates and even my teachers. So when I got onto YouTube, I was like, this gave me a career and it makes me a living. And maybe some people will try to do this themselves and realize it's hard and maybe they'll become my clients. So I was like, I might get some freelance clients out of this, but it's also fun to teach people these things.
Yeah.
I was also a trainer at my company that I worked for. So I already had experience teaching
So
training people.
Like,
so
hey, I can just do this on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and the thing is, at the time, it was not like I was making all this money. It's like first 2 or 3 years, I was only making like $200 a month on YouTube, and I got into an MCN. Never joined a multi-channel network.
Oh well, they don't really exist anymore. There's still some that exist, but yeah, you're right.
They took 50% of my money, Tim.
Exactly. They were
did nothing.
a bad deal for most people.
Yeah, no, like 50% of my money for years and did nothing.
Hold on. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. They did something. They probably gave you a 1-page cheat sheet of how to grow on YouTube for half your revenue, right?
No, they didn't.
They didn't do that.
No,
that's what I heard. Like a lot of them were like, back. I know we're getting off topic, but yeah,
but for real, they just didn't do anything. No, it's this is my villain origin story. My villain origin story is I got screwed by a multi-channel network, and dude, for years they actually owed me like $4,000 in back pay, and it took them 3 years to pay it off. Like it was like, yeah, I'm serious. So what I did was I'm like, you know what? Everything that a multi-channel network promises, I could teach someone for free how to do whatever a multi-channel network promises to do for them. Yeah. And that's part of why I started helping creators.
Yeah. Cool. And what year did that pivot change for you from teaching people design to teaching people?
I didn't stop teaching them that. I added to, because that's what happened with like in 2015. I went daily, if you remember. I had 20,000 subscribers. See, technically, back then, it's funny. I didn't know to capitalize on, I blew up on YouTube in a year. I didn't know to make a video and capitalize on, this is how quickly I grew on YouTube, because in 16 months, I went from 20,000 subscribers to 120,000 subscribers in 16 months. You know that's not normal.
That's a lot of work.
No viral content. Yeah. And it's all education, search-friendly, evergreen content, because you know me, you know my personality, you know how I roll. So I was adding a video. My Friday video was basically helping content creators as my Friday video. So I was doing other stuff. I was even doing tech videos, Tech Tuesdays back then when I was part of the YouTube tech community for a while. I was doing camera gear stuff a lot. Yeah. So I was doing all these different things. I was a variety channel, which you can't really get away with that anymore. But I was having a lot of fun with it, but I was also teaching people, and it started making me good money. Amazon affiliate program was the thing that made me good money back then. Yeah. Besides my freelancing endeavors, it was the Amazon affiliate program. I was making like $1,200 a month from Amazon affiliate. I lived in North Carolina, so if you're not in New York or California, that's rent money and utilities, my friends. $1,200 a month in North Carolina back in my day. Yeah, back when we were
kids. So when you started YouTube, like the main thing you really wanted was just freedom. You wanted to get away from the people who weren't paying you as much as your time and your expertise was worth, the people who were telling you when you had to leave home and come to them every day, then when you could leave and go back home at the end of the day, and how much money you were going to make and what we're going to do with everything you're putting your heart and soul into. Yeah. And
with YouTube, I wanted the recognition I wasn't getting at work, because I got the freedom by freelancing. Freelancing gave me time freedom, which even made YouTube viable. Because what a lot of people won't talk about is it's easier to grow on YouTube when you have time freedom. Yeah. I couldn't work a 9-to-5, take the scraps of energy from my 9-to-5, and then go daily on YouTube. That would not have been that would not have been healthy, Tim. That wouldn't have been healthy.
I've worked with several creators who were like, Tim, all I want is 100,000 subscribers. Yeah. And we're like, okay. So we work with them, get them to 100,000, and they do like the live stream, and post the live subscriber count. Yeah. And they're excited for like 15 minutes, and they're like, how do we get to 1 million? Right. And then we're like, okay.
Not satisfied with success,
This is a true story, by the way.
Yeah. And then, I've seen it happen.
And then we get to 1 million subscribers. Yeah. And they're the same thing. The live stream party, the countdown. I get it. They're excited. They post their socials.
I need another
million.
And
then it's like 2 million. And we got 2 million. And then it was, and after they're like, how do we get to 5 million? I'm like, dude, like.
Nothing will be enough.
Exactly.
Nothing will be enough.
And on one hand, I understand it. I get it. Where we want big goals. We want to go after, in the book Good to Great, Jim Collins, like you need a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. You need something big you can go after. Yep. But when it's like a moving target and it's just like, okay, this is going to make me happy. This is going to make me feel fulfilled. This is going to make me feel like everything I've been working for. Well, yeah, everything I've been working for is like going to feel great. And then you get there and then you're like, just at what point are we, that
enough is
in particular,
enough.
We're gonna, 100 million. They were like, okay, let's get you 100 million subscribers. And then then what? Like, is it 1 billion? I don't know. What happens when we run out of people on the planet, right? So at some point, I think, let me tell my own personal story too, is there was a few years ago, I think, some of the story, Roberto, I got really burned out.
Yep.
Our business was doubling year over year for 5, 6, 7 years. I forget.
You were living embodiment of success.
It was like crazy. I was like trying to hire people. I couldn't keep up. We had sold out a waiting list of clients who had paid in full to be on the waiting list to work with us in 6 months.
Yeah.
When we projected we have
said
capacity.
The living embodiment of success. It's like, but ironically, it's not an enviable position. Anyone envying that doesn't know the downside.
Well, yeah. So I'm talking, just earlier actually with someone, and I'm like, yeah, we had this client pay this amount of money, and like we didn't. It was like a hard and they're like, they weren't being disrespectful, but I've heard people be like, "Oh wow, must be really hard to have those types of like financial problems."
Yeah, no, G must be nice to have luxury problems.
Dude, you're not in this situation, so shut up.
It's like, okay, so like it might be nice to think that it's cool to be like a big time football player, have all the money, the success, the cars, the girls. What's not great is having your collarbone snapped on the field.
Yeah.
What's not great is being there, getting the tar beat out of you at practice every day. That's not great is maybe the rough childhood you went through to get there. It's like there's like people make a lot of assumptions because all they get to see is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They don't get to see everything you had to go through and the storms you had to weather and the hardship, and they go, oh, it's worth it, it's worth it. It's like, you don't have it, so you don't know. Because a lot of times what people do is they tell themselves, even we do this, we rationalize and say it's worth it, but we know deep down sometimes it's not.
Well, the people who don't have money are like, money would solve all my problems. And the people who do have money,
only your money problems.
And the people who do have money say more money, more problems. Right?
More money, different problems is probably more accurate. Because I'll tell you this, Tim, I grew up with genuine money problems that a lot of people did not. And I'm not trying to, my oppression Olympics card or nothing like that, but I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious. I'm a child of divorce, single mother, 4 kids, oldest son, all the things, first generation immigrant and everything like that. It's probably like 12 ways people would classify themselves as oppressed in this country. Okay, I can check 9 of those boxes. So sue me.
Nice.
So like,
I mean, not nice, but yeah, I get what
you get what I'm saying. So it's
yeah.
like, cry me a river, right? And I'm not being disrespectful or unsympathetic. I was like, I went through those things. I get it. But so what? The world does not care. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is you'll have to deal with this stuff and overcome it. And even when you do, when you slay those dragons, the thing that you're left with is the voices in your head. Because now you don't have the external hardship as a distraction anymore of like things and people and situations. Now it's just you versus you. It's you dealing with the voices in your head, looking in the mirror. It's you staying up at night, and it's you versus yourself. And you realize, now that I've slain all the dragons, I'm my own worst enemy, and it's all I have left to me.
Yeah.
And that's a very intimidating thought. And the thing is, so when you solve all your money problems, you're left with nothing but your mental health problems, and you're nothing but the silence and echoes of your own mind, and the voices get very, very loud, because at least when you had money problems, you had something external to attack. You had something external to fight. You had an actual like adversary or enemy or obstacle, and it gave you focus, and you could not get in your own head because you had to actually execute. When all of that goes away, it's just you in your own mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I have learned a lot over the years of the mental health issues that come as a result of growth, of success, of getting what you actually wanted. I just sold my business a few weeks ago at this point,
again.
And I was like, that's thank you. That's I didn't even see that one coming, right? And so a couple of years ago, when I was in the middle of all, I had to stop so many things,
right?
Like everything I had dreamed of, and like you, well, maybe not like you, but I had my own issues and stuff, struggles growing up with, and like mentalities that were holding me back, and things,
limiting beliefs, all kinds of things,
exactly, and those
environment,
and those things. Coming from like a ministry background where everything's supposed to be free. The goal is just to give as much as you can. Don't worry about paying for it. Like, that was hard for me to be
a lot of times they tell you that, but they're not doing it, and they create a poverty mindset in you.
Yeah. And that was totally my mindset, So anyway, all that to say that when things started, like I was starting to get what I wanted and what I was dreaming of, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not what I thought it was going to be. No. And it led to literally a physical breakdown in the middle of one night. And thus that's kind of when I stopped making a lot of YouTube videos. Yep. And it led to, some marital things between my wife and I. It wasn't just that, it was other things too, but it was, it was just a big, like, boom, all at
compounding
once.
Problems.
Yeah.
People don't realize you can solve your money problems and then you solve that. Okay, now what if your relationships are deteriorating? You think that money problems are worse than that? Now your physical health is deteriorating. You think your money problems are worse than that? Oh, your mental health is deteriorating. So now you have you have relationships rotting. You're alienating people in your life, or maybe you think that, God forbid, you might lose your family and everything like that. Money problems by comparison are trivial.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have the money problems than lose my family, obviously. You'd rather have the money problems than know that there's a physical health problem that money can't solve, or a mental health problem that money can't solve. There are a lot of problems that money can't fix. And once you fix those money problems, the thing is you stay up at night thinking more about the problems it cannot solve. They become it's like they're just waiting there. It's like, it's like a video game. It's like a video game. You get through the scrub levels, and then, oh crap, the enemies got stronger.
Yeah, exactly. They just scale up with your gear.
You got stronger. Oh, so did the enemy.
Here we are a few years later for my wife and I.
Yeah.
And I've been doing counseling. She's been we've been couples
good
counseling together, and we are now better and stronger today than we were like in our honeymoon, right? Like, so we have really come a long way, but it kind of took saying like no to a lot of things that used to be important that I thought were important.
Yes.
And, like making YouTube videos, like I love the podcast, it's more conversational, but I haven't really put much effort into the YouTube channel for like 2.5 years because
I've been
something
going through
had
that.
to give, and burnout's a real thing. That was certainly a part of all this too. But one thing that I learned, I'd love to hear from you, like now that I'm kind of looking back, I'm like, oh boy, and that's part of why I'm motivated to make this episode is like, how do we start the conversation with creators so that they don't get there and some actually do lose their spouse, some do lose their business and their marriage, their identity and all those things. They get so wrapped up, our self-worth and what we create. And when it's not performing as well, we take it as it feels personal, like people don't like me anymore. You know? So there's a lot of mental health stuff around this, but I want to hear from you, Roberto, in terms of what have you learned in your experience of being a creator online about contentment, about gratitude as a creator, and what kind of impact has your perspective of contentment and gratitude have? What kind of impact has it had on how you create, how you operate your business, and what your perspective is on success now today?
Thank you for that, Tim, and thank you for sharing and opening up on a lot of that. I'm grateful to this day that I worked crappy jobs in retail at the mall. I'm grateful to this day that I worked for other entrepreneurs in their businesses, even when they weren't great bosses. They were great teachers, whether they meant to be or not.
That's true, actually.
And I am a
silver lining and everything.
It's like I'm a dark apprentice. My Emperor Palpatine voice there. But the thing about working in those retail jobs and having goals and markers and things like that is I already learned that gold stars, you're satisfied in the moment and then you move on and then the work remains. So I kind of got that, okay, nothing that spectacular changed or happened because I did this or because I was number one in sales or any of that. Same thing at the job. It's nice to get the promotion. Okay, it's a nice little extra pay bump, but then you go home and then you're still not satisfied with your life, your lifestyle, or your bills are still piling up or whatever. But you got a little bit more going on. So you start to learn some lessons in the disappointment and delusion by going through this process. And what happens is a lot of creators today, they're bypassing these rites of passage, you and I, and great, you're making more money by not going through them. But some of these rites of passage that you and I went through in the age before you could just hop on your smartphone and start a YouTube channel, it taught important things in boundaries, structure, and also discipline. But it also taught you that, okay, achieving a goal and then celebrating that goal becomes this temporary thing in terms of any satisfaction it brings you. And so you learn to not, in my opinion, when you go through those things, those rites of passage, you somewhat stop being as attached to milestones or success. It's important to celebrate small wins, sure, but you don't chase as much of that dopamine. And for me, my experience was I came up with a phrase called build, don't chase. Build success instead of chasing it. Build the engine of your own success. Build your own, if anything, wish-granting engine in life through your work. Build things in life and in work and in your relationships that will continue to perpetually create great experiences for you, help improve the things in your life that need to be improved, including your relationships. Make things that build things that benefit your mental health instead of tear it down. Build habits that do that. Build structure. Build relationships, build community, build support that does that. Build support structures around your life. Like, do those things. Build instead of chase. Because if I build a life of value, I won't have to chase success hoping it grants me satisfaction, because I'll be able to look at the things I've built and take some pride and joy and satisfaction in that, and know that those things I built still perpetually create value. And that's one of the reasons I focus on things like evergreen content, evergreen systems, evergreen milestones, automation, outsourcing, but also relationship, community, and these things. Our relationship over the years, like, you've been a great friend to me, and you've been like supportive, and whenever I need somebody to like talk their ear off, and stuff like that. And so I have plenty of other people in the community. And it means something. And it means something to be valued by your peers. When you chase the validation of an audience, though, I think the big trap for a lot of YouTubers, especially young YouTubers, is they're seeking validation that they never got somewhere else. They're seeking validation through their views. The reason they're chasing those numbers is because they know there's something in them that still feels unworthy.
That was totally. I was like just talking to my wife on the phone last night. We're here at the People Video Conference, so talking to the phone instead of in person. But and I was talking, like, there's people here who are like publishing multiple times a day, ongoing, and I see them in my feed all the time. And I told my wife, there was a time years ago, before all this therapy and counseling we've been through, I was doing that, but I can look back on that now and see it's exactly what you said. It was like I needed affirmation. I wanted to feel valued and important and special, and and like I had something of value to offer. And now that we're like a few years later, I post like once a week or once every 2 weeks on like Instagram, for example, and I don't even like, it doesn't even cross my mind of like, I should be taking pictures of this to share with people. Like, and I kind of at the point where like I feel like a bad social media guy because I don't even really
because you're not doing best practices anymore, right?
So
we're not doing best practices anymore. You notice that? Because I
really don't have to because I sold my business.
Right.
So
good
I have
for
a lot
you,
more freedom
man.
with that.
Good for you.
But what stood out to me though, looking back over the past several years and career and everything on YouTube, is that there's a sense of discontentment that if I had that, something would be different about my life. Or if that was true, the grass, like you said, chase. Like, that's the problem. It's like we're chasing something that is kind of maybe an illusion, but we think that we get it. And it's this idea that someone said to me, like, Tim, the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
nice.
I was like, at first I'm like, yeah, that sounds nice. That's cute, whatever. But I'm like, I kind of think that's true though. Like, you're saying, like, where are you now? And I think it really comes down to learning to be content, whether you're making $10,000 a year, 100,000 or 1 million or 10 million in a year. It's like, how do I be content with this and not get to this place like when I get to finally 1 million subscribers, or I finally am making 7 figures in my business, or I'm finally making 8 figures, whatever, then I'll be content. We can tell if you're not content right now, that doesn't change when you get the thing that you're chasing. No, it doesn't. After.
See, that's where I came with the build, don't chase. Is I can be happy and take some happiness where I'm at anytime I want by just being grateful and acknowledging the value of where I am and the people around me and the things that I already do have, and say, okay, that is something to appreciate. And if I appreciate it in that moment, I can extract some happiness right then and there. I can squeeze happiness right then and there. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop building though.
Yeah, that doesn't mean like we're
I can just build. I'm just going to keep building things forever.
Yeah.
If I'm building forever, there will always be things to extract happiness from.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't have ambition. Yeah. I'm not saying like don't go out, kill it, drag it home. I'm saying is like if you went out, you killed it, and you brought home a squirrel instead of a lion.
Well, when you go out, celebrate. First of all, celebrate the fact that you have the guts to go out there.
There you go.
So that's a small win there.
Yeah, most people
then
don't even do that.
Celebrate. I went out and I had the guts to go out and hunt. Great. I'm out there. I got it. I bagged it. Celebrate then. It's like, okay, I got it home in one piece.
Yeah.
Celebrate that.
You can go out again, but but celebrate like I'm content here. Not that you can't keep working.
People do not celebrate the process.
Yeah, and that attitude of gratitude for what I have versus always being fixated on the person who has more than you, the person who's driving the fancy cars, or the guy who's got the 7 children, said no one ever except for me, But we always compare. Like I think Sean Cannell says this. He's like, we compare our now to someone else's like future, right, or whatever, or something like that. In other words, he's looking at.
We compare our first chapter to their ending.
Exactly. Yeah, and we don't see the process
or their mid chapters.
So we'll look at a television screen watching football, and we'll yell at the guy like, "I would have caught that pass," and I'm like, "No, you wouldn't have."
Yeah, no,
that guy
like
spent his life getting there.
Armchair quarterback. Well, again, even with YouTube, a lot of people start as the armchair quarterback, then they do it and they realize it's actually hard.
Yeah, exactly.
And they cry about how hard it is. They cry about making videos for 6 years, and not having what they want. Why am I not famous yet? Oh, the advice doesn't work. It's like, first of all, I've never once seen someone that actually implemented the advice thoroughly and intentionally on one channel exclusively and did everything we've said to do, or even half of it.
Well, yeah,
and not gotten at least 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. But what I will say is, a lot of people, there is a delusional problem with YouTube because everyone sees an end result and they have no idea the circumstances that produce the end result. And I'm not talking tactics. I'm not even talking gear. I'm talking about, it's obviously easier to be successful on YouTube for someone who has a supportive family versus someone who doesn't. It's easier to be unsuccessful on YouTube.
That's true
for someone who has. Yeah. It's easier to be successful on YouTube if you have no physical problems versus someone who has a physical problem, a chronic illness, or invisible illness, any number of things. It's easier for somebody to be massively successful on YouTube who has unlimited time freedom in their day after they sleep for 8 hours versus someone who has a job and kids.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it doesn't matter if, we started at the same time, or, we have the same subs. Why are they getting more views? You don't know the other side of anything about their story.
Yeah.
But you're going to compare and covet what they have, but you don't know the other side of their circumstances.
Yeah.
Or you're going to disrespect somebody for not being on a certain level, but you don't know the circumstances that may be hindering them, and to know enough to be grateful for what you have, to be truly grateful for what you have, because you could be in their circumstances and then not be doing any better.
Yeah. It's easier to do that if you have a mission behind what you're doing, and it's not just based on dollars or popularity or fame or something. It's more about like, I have this mission, and that I think helps make it easier for gratitude to be in there and for feel contentment and things.
You know what? Also, people say to us, well, easy for you guys to say you guys aren't broke and everything like that. But I'll tell you a story from when I was a graphic designer. When I was a graphic designer, there were like gigs that I could have done, corporate gigs that I could have done with clients. And I said no, because there were ethical lines in terms of industries that I would not work for, that I told myself a long time ago that because like for some things, there's like some very personal things because like, people in my family have struggled with certain things or died from certain things. So I said, I'll never support that industry because it's harmed people in my family. Right. So I said, no matter what the money is, I'll never work for a company like that because it's actually hurt our family before. So lines in the sand. Those things are, and those boundaries, and it's not always about, your morals or your ethic. Sometimes it's really personal beliefs that you can hold that will hold you accountable to say, there are things that I will not compromise on for money.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of really big things that we work on and go after, this is a book, Roberto. If you're watching the video version of this, you can see the cover on it. It's Create Something Awesome, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. I just got my copy. It's even signed. I got mine autographed, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
But give us a quick pitch for the book and where we can find it.
I mean, it's not a very hard pitch. What you'll get is a realistic look at what the creator journey can be like for people. I don't fill people's heads with delusions, and I don't sell hope. I'm like, it's not unreasonable to make $35,000 to $55,000 a year, basically middle income in America, median income in America, doing something you actually like, using the modern tools of the internet. We have a lot less gatekeepers. There's a lot of opportunity. Advertising props up the creator economy. There's also multiple revenue streams. So we talk about 6 or 7 of the main revenue streams for content creators in the book, and we outline them and I talk about them. We talk about the opportunities with YouTube, but not just YouTube, podcasting, like this is podcasting, the opportunities there. We talk about building online business and e-commerce, and we talk about live streaming opportunities and being a streamer, and even short form content. There's a lot of different ways to prosper in the creator economy. There's a lot of different business models, and there are underserved communities and audience. So the creator triangle is, okay, attention, and what will get attention, what will then build the community that I want to be a part of, and then how can I monetize that properly? So I call it AMC, like the company, but you could rearrange it depending on your priorities. You could call it AMC or MAC or CAM. So you can, it works no matter what. Yep. And so it's attention, monetization, and community. And these 3 creator triangle pillars are really important. And so I go over in the book what you can do to cultivate attention, but be intentional about it. Not all attention is good attention. I talk about realities like burnout, overworking, being overwhelmed, imposter syndrome, comparing to others, or even how to deal with haters and negativity and put it in perspective. And I not only share some of my story and my creator journey, but also little known facts and stories and backstory behind some of the most successful creators, in the industry, people you think are an overnight success, but are not. And again, I feel like I just give one of the most realistic takes, not just a tactical take, but a realistic take of what is the real career opportunity in the creator economy and what is it? What is the lifestyle of being a content creator? What can you expect to happen in terms of the mental health and emotional changes and lifestyle changes? And then how do you build a career or a business doing this? So that's the book.
Well, go check it out, guys. There's a link in the show notes where you can go check it out or just search basically anywhere. Did I see you did an audio book too?
Audio book, I believe, comes out at the end of October. I've been recording that. And Amazon bestseller already.
Nice. Good job, man. Well, Create Something Awesome is the book by Roberto Blake. And thank you guys for hanging out for this episode. It's a little different format than we normally do. But it's, this is something I actually want to talk more about, especially as my career develops. This is a thing that not too many people are talking about and it needs to be discussed.
It does.
So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Roberto, for your time. And we will see you guys again next week for another Video Creators Podcast episode. I think brought to you by vidIQ now. I think I'm supposed to say that. I'll figure it out later. But thank you guys. And we'll see you next week. Bye.